Hello all, welcome to the session. This session is building contextual knowledge graphs to adapt, evaluate and leverage LLMs with Samira Karani. Over to you, Samira.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you so much for everyone who attend this session for me. I really would like to talk about what I have done during last year, and also thanks to Neo4j for building my career. I'm here for the second time, and I learned a lot from Neo4j, and I get a good support from my startup, which is Retrieval. I think my screen is shared, so let's start. Oh no. Oh, no. Okay. I would like to talk about what is exactly throughput done. The tripper wants to, if you're going to a trip and you're walking on the street and suddenly you want to do some things nice and see, for example, moon is shining and you would like to watch how moon is beautiful and find an event about going to adventure and having conversation and find the perfect night for a little adventure helps you. If one of you like to go to a wine tasting event, or another of you wants to go for watching moon, have a idea and give you the best offer based on your trip. Actually, a trip is always was my things, and I had always that problem that if I want to go to a trip and I'm a wine person, I couldn't easily find the best wine. But event is like being in trip, like I'm a local. So I want to have this recommender system and Tripo, but easily come to mind that, oh, that's okay, LLM can do that for us. But no, LLM never done that for us because LLM never understand. It's just a justification. It's just about a statistical number of words. It never wants to bring the truth for the user and fact for the user. Even for the latest version of LLM, last night I asked that I want to go a trip to a restaurant for Christmas. I'm living in Galway, and I asked about the Galway. Can you offer me Christmas event in a vegetarian restaurant? I didn't get an answer. It's just, I'm sorry, I cannot find an event. It's that restaurant is close to Cliff of Moher, and you can go that. It's both of, one of them is Claude, another is ChatGPT 5. I didn't get that answer because LLM doesn't know the fact. So I've decided to, instead of put the context inside the LLM and prompt, I decided to put the context inside the graph. What that means, instead of just playing with the location and event and tourists populated by people, reviewed by people, I gave more context, like weather, like event, like concert. If I'm going to Ireland tomorrow morning, which concert I can attend, I can have in a one question, not a list of data that I didn't want to burn on the lots of data they provided to me. So I decided to change the way usually construct the graph. So instead of just entity and semantic relationship, I add some more attribute, which is dynamically adapted, and actually helped me to have a reasoning layer when my LLM try to understand, to give answer to the user. I also add some sort of demography. How I brought that demography from Instagram, the viral post, the who have this post, who talk about which type of trip, who talk about which kind of adventure is perfect for me as a, for example, as a woman, as a second English speaker. How can I enjoy my tree. But what happened in that stage, the query understandings get very easy, and graph towers. What I meant about graph towers, I wanted my LLM generate the Cypher. When I gave more context, the graph towers worked better for me because it didn't need to understand, to have a fixed Cypher. It could understand after this pass, what is the priority? If it's in Galway, and I'm a woman, and I will arrive in 10 p.m., I do not offer walking for a distance because, and for that is this hop-off reasoning is based on the graph that knows and reason before answering the question. And also ground response. I definitely had zero sense of hallucination. Graph is working without hallucinating, without adding anything to the answer for the user. How that work? What exactly I wanted to answer? That where can I stay near the Eiffel Tower for Christmas within walking distance of Hotel Luita and has a holiday event? This is the question everyone's going to trip sometimes answer that. How my graph answer? Find a node, which is the hotel name and age of walking distance. I easily could calculate that one, and has event. How? Because I get data from Eventbrite. And then the walking distance is less than 2 kilometers. I define that, and probably it can be better too. The output is look like Hotel A and Hotel C are in width 2 kilometers of Hotel Luita and offer Christmas event. This was the part that missed on a general LLM at the moment. So how I create this contextual knowledge graph? There is a lots of data, and every day generated more data again and again. For example, the number of tourist venue in Galway do not change in a year, but every day with LLM, with influencer, many data generated for one place. For that reason, I just gather all place Latin lang. It was one of the things that I really get a lot of from Neo4j, because they had a great function to handle Latin lang. For gathering my data set, I get data from Yelp, TripAdvisor, Eventbrite, OpenStreetMap, Weather API, Geonames, and construct my graph. After constructing my graph, I provide a RESTful API to a LLM, which every time LLM have a plugin, I use semantic kernel plugin, connect to the graph, bring the answer, and give it to the user. The conversational can be ongoing, and every time answer can be improving. But the most important part of this project was constructing the graph based on location and based on temporal data, behavioral and situational. Why I focus on situational? For example, Galway in Ireland, the weather in winter and autumn is awful, but we have a Galway in United States, which the weather is not as rainy as in Ireland. So it was another challenge I had to deal with, other than Latin lang on conversation. I should understand when people were going to, for example, Galway in Ireland, they are talking about the Galway in Ireland. They are not talking about Galway in United States. And there is a lots of more example of that. Without context, without having the fact on knowledge graph, it was impossible to answer this question correctly. Zero hallucination at first question, first answer. we construct this graph. So we had data source, and we add this data to the database and give it to LLM. To LLM retrieve the answer. Definitely, a structure is agentic based, and we had many agents which a planner make decision when can connect to the knowledge graph. But for the phase of evaluation, I definitely rely on fact checking. For me, I get API from different source, and it was another beauty of Neo4j. I could will show that in Neo4j you can connect to API, get data from API, and generate node and relation. That was really helpful because I get weather API, every time construct the relation, and after 24 hours, that relationship would change and delete. That was beauty of the Neo4j's graph. So let's go talk about the schema I've designed. This is a very small part of my graph because it's located is just in island or even less than island. We had accommodation, we had hospitals, nightlife, even post office, country, city, and weather, restaurant. We create these data set based on the address, even the URL, Latin language status, and construct different type of relation with them. Some of this data was a statistic like place. Place names can be changed, but Latin language is really hard to change. So my graph doesn't need to get update about the place, which is include hotels and hospitals. For example, about the hospitals, almost zero chance you get change in a year. But the constant change comes from event, seasonal data, about the concert, about the weather. That was the part of my graph that should be changing. I create many different semantic relationship, which most of them came from API. So what then after that, what we have done, we improve the prompt to use subgraph for answering the question. If it's about island, you need to go just search on subgraph name island, that label that helps you to bring back the answer for the user. And that what another things was everything hallucination zero and dynamic adaptation, which I talk about it because of changing on API that data gave every day. But still we need the evaluation. For example, if I seasoned coffee in Galway hosting Christmas event with 2K of Hotel Luita, is that you find the entity matching, you can construct concentrate, which is in that case was event and season, and check the distance, verify the output. The output should give you the most direct answer based on what you need, not what I have. Neo4j is perfect for my case. Why? Because of schema was flexible, pattern-based querying, and seamless integration. Neo4j has like connection to LangChain. Unfortunately, I didn't use LangChain. I used semantic kernel, and but it still was a very helpful application for my use case. But still, Cypher query is a bottleneck. Is always a bottleneck. When you have a big graph, you need to understand when you start. And in a graph with at least for a small country like Ireland with 45 million age is really hard to start. Indexing was helpful, and APOC, which is batch optimizing, was great. I write some things on my Medium about indexing or solve that problem. And data quality filter. We try to have a high quality data and stop generating duplicate data. For example, our data was based on Latin lang, and Latin lang was enough for me to understand how my graph is working, and any extra data just add as a property to the same Latin lang for me. And for going to a scale, I used cloud integration and parallel processing and vector index. So another problem we have, which when user ask a question, we need to understand what is the intent. To based on that intent, go and find the path and bring the answer for the user. For that, using reasoning for understand the intent of the user wasn't the best approach. I went for a store intent of user in different vectors. But what I learned is flexibility is everything. Database design is not graph design, and graph enrichment is the bridge data silos. We had lots of data in different sources which talking about same things, but they never been together and never been in some place to give whatever user needs in actually in travel industry, or especially for inexperienced traveler. And subgraph is the key in real-time context required hybrid infrastructure for me. And my takeaway was context is the missing bridge, graph design. I said that. And if that's okay, I can show my graph now. Oh, let me share my screen. Now. So I said when you have for example, this is my graph, and when every day, every an hour, I get update from weather API, and it's easily for, I will remove my API. Every time you run that code, the relation and the weather will be created. And it's not just about that. Everything in this graph are related to each other based on different attributes, including in same city, in same category, and even in same weather, in same season, and even based on has event. And that's it. I think I'm finished everything. Yes. Okay, if there is, yes, please. If there is any question, I would be happy to answer. Oh. Yes, I have question here to check the coherence. You took vector embedding between the names that might be heterogeneous. No, I had a vector based on named and Latin lang. Yeah. It's take me 3 months to build the graph. Then we improved that, and now we are ready for launch. Actually, we are in the phase of getting fund. Yeah, yes. Actually, when you have a question, you write a question. What can I do now? And you get you give access to us to have your Latin line based on who you are and what we know about you. We're offering you the events you can attend. Thank you. And yes. No, we're having a graph during the time with for example, if this year get data from Galway in 2023, 2024 for 2025 can be learned based on what happened, and we actually emphasize on graph learning more than LLM learning. Yes, because reasoning, it's important. You answer the question based on the intent of the user. And if I just rely on reasoning, I can rely on 12, 13 intent. But when I have a vector database, I have a bunch of intent that I know how to answer. Actually, I can answer everything on my knowledge graph because I do not rely on reasoning on LLM. So if there isn't a question anymore. Okay. Sure. Thank you so much, guys, for having me, for attending my presentation. It was really nice to have audience. Thank you.